In this video, I want to explain about this second type of empty nose syndrome. So there is a different reaction. Majority don't have this type. I will call for the majority to have type 1. The people who only feel like they are suffocating, getting too much air through the nose, and also having dry nostrils. My type is different, and I've seen other people's, not many, but other people's having the exact same reactions that I had. So all this to say that I redirect you also to my playlist to look to my other videos with more details. Okay, so my experience is, I think about 15 years ago, I had the lower turbinates completely removed. It doesn't matter the technique. I think it's the most basic technique, which also cuts and removes the mucosa that's over the lower turbinates. The lower turbinates are the bigger ones, right? So right after the surgery, I felt like I'm also suffocating, not a lot, but suffocating, getting too much air into my nostrils. I was uncomfortable. I actually tried to put things inside my nose to kind of um, reconstruct that kind of air resistance natural when I breathed in. This lasted for me for about, it just, I give you just an approximate number. I don't really remember that period very well. So for about 6 months, day, night, daytime, nighttime, I felt like I would suffocate. I felt uncomfortable when I would breathe in because it felt there is too much air getting into my lungs. After about 6 months, what happened is that at the daytime I would feel the same kind of too much air, but at nighttime when I was asleep, I started to get my nostrils almost entirely blocked. And it was not related to maybe a cold or something like this. It was just from that moment on, my nostrils started to feel almost blocked at night, only at nighttime. And also, nighttime and daytime, the nostrils will be dry, too dry. So, first off, I don't know the reason why. Like I said, some people will never get these blocked nostrils at night, will just always feel too much air getting in for many years. Myself, after only about plus minus 6 months after the surgery, could be maybe up to 1 year. I don't remember exactly the time. So after about 6 months after the surgery, at daytime, I still had too much air getting into my nostrils, but at nighttime, my nostrils would be almost blocked. I, I don't know the reason why I started to have this problem at night, which is different than most people with ENS. That's why I call my ENS condition type 2. And I'm going to name the other condition, the most common one, too much air getting in at all time, day, nighttime, type 1. So I would differentiate. Most people, again, just want to make sure because people may not understand, may not be clear. Majority may have a condition with always feeling while awake and asleep too much air getting into the nostril and suffocating. And there is perhaps a second condition, mine, more rare, that after about 6 to maybe 12 months after the surgery, you at nighttime you start actually feeling your nostrils are almost blocked. I just want to uh, tell you a guess. It's really a guess. I'm not a doctor. Nobody is it's informing about these things, about the reasons. There is no such information that I'm aware of. Only a guess. Maybe the reason I got my nostrils to become blocked at nighttime after several months after the surgery, maybe it's because I did not do the saline irrigation after the surgery. So the doctor, when operated me, when did my turbinate reduction surgery, after the reduction, I had 4 days and 4 nights with patches inside my nostrils. After 4 days, he removed these patches, and he told me when I went back home, do saline irrigation. Actually, there are bottles at drugstores with, I'm not sure about the name. It's not salt. It's something like, yeah, I don't remember the name, but you must be aware. It's just the big bottles that you get put inside your nostrils on both sides. Incline your head, and get that fluid inside your nostrils, and it would just kind of, the nostrils will become wet for a moment, for 30 minutes or so. The doctor told me to do that irrigation. Unfortunately, he didn't mention that I must keep doing it and to which frequency. So basically, he was just very one of these persons who doesn't really care giving explanation, clear explanation and reasons. So all this to say that after the surgery, I did do that irrigation. I did purchase one of those bottles. I finished the bottles, and then I said, I don't need it. Actually, I think he said that I should do that irrigation to help the wounds from the cuts heal faster or something like this, I believe, if I remember well. So I did stop the irrigation fairly quickly after a few weeks, and also I didn't do it a lot of times a day. Maybe this is the reason why I developed blockage at night several months after the surgery. Um, and I wonder if the people who never did develop this blockage at night at sleep time, I wonder if they actually did continue with that irrigation, saline irrigation for several months. A theory, maybe doing saline irrigation several times a day, several times, at least 6 times a day or more, for at least 1 year after the surgery or even longer. Maybe that will help um, not, mm, help prevent the mucosa that should stay humid inside the nostrils, help prevent the mucosa from getting deteriorated after the surgery. So in other words, let me just rephrase this. If you do, it's just a theory. I really want to stress this. If you do saline irrigation several times a day, at least 1 year or longer after the surgery, even if it doesn't seem it's needed, if you do this saline irrigation after the surgery for a long time, maybe you will, the mucosa in your nostrils will start healing a little bit and will improve, and you may not get blockage, nostril blockage at sleep time. Hopefully, I'm clear. I just want to make things the most clear possible for most people, because I'm aware there are people who just are not maybe scientifically very good or inclined, and just want to make the explanation very, very clear. So my suggestion is, after the surgery, do this saline irrigation several times a day for at least 1 year or more. Maybe this will help, what is the exact expression? Maybe this will help regenerate your mucosa inside the nostrils. Regenerate, I mean, rebuild those tiny blood vessels that are being damaged by the turbinate surgery, because those vessels inside the mucosa it's what brings the humidity to your mucosa. So keep doing that saline irrigation for a long time. Maybe this will help get you less worse, or even just completely prevent a ENS, empty nose condition for you. Keep doing this saline irrigation. I think it's important. At the same time, I want to stress, when you do saline irrigation, make sure you don't ingest. So saline irrigation means inside the nostrils, right? So be sure when you do this irrigation, don't ingest saline water through your nostrils. Don't swallow it. Don't ingest it, right, inside your stomach. Don't do it, because you will get too much salt inside your body, and this is bad for your body. This is another important part. And also you can try mixing your own solution of salt with water. I have a video at home, so you don't spend too much money buying from the drugstores. Be aware that salt inside the nostrils, real salt, table salt, is very can be it's very painful at first. So always start just with clear water and gradually add tiny amounts of salt, dissolve it properly, and start using your nostrils to salt, because at first the nostrils with salt will be very painful. After a while, is no longer any pain. Also, be sure to rinse that bottle. I repeat, rinse the bottle that you use for salinization at least once a week, because it will build mildew inside the bottle. Okay, just make sure, look inside, use a bottle of clear color, not a black bottle. So you can detect that mildew inside the bottle. Usually I would just rinse the bottle with a bit of chlorine and just obviously remove the chlorine afterwards. Chlorine does kill mildew, but be sure to check inside the bottle once in a while, at least once a month, so you don't have mildew inside the bottle, because you will get that mildew inside your nostrils, and that's really not good. Okay, it's dangerous actually for your lungs and for your nostrils. Just be aware of this. I just want to point out that this blockage at nighttime, I'm sorry, this is longer video, but it always turns like this. I want to say things faster, but it's just not possible because I'm giving too many details. So I was saying that this blockage at nighttime, it's caused by, so pay attention, by the middle turbinates. In each nostril, you have 3 turbinates on the side, so a total of 6 turbinates in both nostrils. So the nostril, you have the lower turbinates, these are the bigger ones, they are located the lowest. The middle turbinates, these are middle size, and the upper turbinates, which are small size. So after about 6 months from the surgery, which removed completely my lower turbinates, my middle turbinates started to overgrow, overinflate at night, and started to block even the hole left by the lower turbinates. I don't know what's the reason for this. Most likely it's an imbalance because the turbinates receive a lot of blood when you sleep, and they kind of expand, they get bigger when you sleep. It's alternating on the sides. I don't want to get into details. It's a normal mechanism. Perhaps what happens is that when you remove the lower turbinates, the blood have gone into the lower turbinates, now goes towards the middle turbinates, so it's an extra amount of blood, and the middle turbinates over expand at nighttime and block your nostrils if you have my type 2 condition. Wanted to say, yes, this blockage at night time, this is the difficult part here that I got through, and I will continue this video explaining a bit what I do to relieve this, to get a relief from this. These middle turbinates, when they expand at night time, they expand at such way that I would say they block the air passage at about 90%. So imagine a healthy person who didn't have had any surgery at nighttime will have 100% airflow through their nostrils. For the type 2 ENS condition, type 2 is just my name I'm giving to this, because obviously doctors they don't study these things, so we need to name kind of ourselves these things, right? So the type 2 ENS condition with nostril blockage at night sleep will actually block about 90% of the normal airflow in a healthy person. So imagine with this blockage at nighttime, you will have through your nostrils about, I approximate this, 10%, maybe 15% of normal airflow. You just imagine what that means, right? Again, just look at the numbers again and just think about it. That means that the airflow through the nostrils in this type 2 ENS condition It's so small that naturally you will not be able to keep your mouth open. The body will still think that you have enough airflow through your nostrils, which obviously is not enough, and you will not have the reaction to keep your mouth open. What happens then, you will basically sleep at night with only about, let's say, 15% of airflow, only through your nostrils. Your mouth will stay closed. You just think what that means to breathe through the night at only maybe 15% of normal airflow. That was the difficult part for me. Plus, this airflow also gets through dry nostrils. Dry nostrils means you don't get the humidity to your lungs. So, all this to say that this was my condition for a period, and I did a few things to help with this. And I just want to say, first thing is that I trained myself to keep my mouth open in a specific way so I can also breathe by mouth and by those 15% of airflow through the nostrils. So right now when I'm sleeping, I breathe by mouth and by nostrils as well. I have to breathe through both of them. I have to sleep with my mouth open and some airflow through my nostrils. Otherwise I cannot sleep. So the way I train to keep my mouth open is that I sleep on the side. I think you can also sleep on your chest, but if you sleep on your chest, you need to have basically you need to sleep without a pillow, because you will see why. But ideally, you need to sleep on your side. And I want to point out that if sometimes during the night I turn without realizing this and I sleep on my back, this is the worst sleep I can get. If I wake up sleeping on my back, it's just not good. The breathing is really not good. I get weird feeling inside my chest, weird feeling about not getting air inside my chest, about not breathing. It's is not good on the back. So I always sleep only on the sides. Obviously, you are going to turn sides during the nighttime. And when I sleep on the sides, I keep a tall pillow. The taller pillow is better because it lifts your head a little bit higher, and it kind of improves the blood flow inside your nostrils. So I sleep on the side and I keep my mouth against the pillow. So imagine this is the pillow. I would just sleep like this on one side, and I would just kind of, let me just not talk for a moment. I will stay a bit like this. And obviously the same when I turn on the other side. That's how I sleep with my mouth open, sort of halfway against the pillow. Imagine this is the pillow, and the pillow should not cover the nostrils because I need to also breathe through the nostrils. So this is how I sleep all the night. I have to keep my mouth open, kind of like this, and breathe through my mouth and also breathe through my nostrils. Both have to breathe through. So that's how I sleep now. And this is the first thing. The second thing, like I said, and I want to give you more details, I started what I call a diet. Diet means I no longer eat some foods, but also, again, just like I detail in other videos, I no longer eat about 6 hours before going to bed. I do explain why in a very specific video. It's related. Let me just really quickly, because there are people who didn't watch my other videos, but you must go on my playlist and watch the videos about this. So basically, when you have dry nostrils after your surgery, um, the food that you eat will, the digestion of a specific food, which is more more difficult for the body to digest, takes more body, if you want, effort. A specific food will actually take away some blood from your nostrils. The digestion directs blood towards the intestines. This is normal in any person. Just Google up if you don't believe me, because these are kind of technical things that very few people are aware of. This is just the normal biology. I'm not inventing these things. Just go on internet and inform yourself. So when you digest food, blood is taken, small amount of blood is taken away from the rest of your body, including away from your nostrils. And this, in persons who had damage from the surgery, this actually causes even drier nostrils. Nostrils need blood inside the mucosa to stay humid. And when you have digestion, part of that blood goes toward digestion, towards intestines and stomach, and the nostrils are more dry only in persons who have this damage inside the nostrils. In healthy persons, they don't get drier nostrils when they are digesting because they are healthy. Their nostrils mucosa is in good condition, doesn't suffer when there is digestion in your body, doesn't suffer from dryness. It suffers, the mucosa gets drier only in persons who had damage to the mucosa when you have digestion, right? So all this to say that I started doing this diet because some foods require more blood for the digestion. This is absolutely normal. And because my mucosa was damaged by the surgery, some foods will, the digestion of some foods will just get the mucosa drier. That's why I found that, and this is really the most important part of my relief from ENS condition. I found out that not eating specific foods and also not eating several hours before sleep time was what helped me getting my nostrils, I would say not unblocked, but I would say less blocked. So and also less dry. So I was talking that before this diet and after the surgery and before I started the diet, my nostrils at nighttime will get only 15% airflow. When I started the diet, my nostrils right now, if you want, I would approximate my nostrils get about, this is difficult for me to give a number, perhaps before maybe 40% of airflow, that's 40, or maybe 50% or airflow of the airflow, maybe sometimes even 60%. I would say it varies between 40 to 60%. Okay, so maybe just say right now I'm getting about normal, maybe a little bit more than half the normal airflow since I'm doing this diet at nighttime asleep, right? So this was my big relief. Let me just get some water. And this is a detail I forgot to mention in my other videos. So right now when I sleep and I observe, I do this diet, I would say again that I have air, I breathe through my mouth, sitting on the side of the pillow with my mouth open through the entire night, and also through my nostrils. I would approximate, say, I get about 50%, perhaps more, depends on the night, sometimes less, of the normal airflow, and also my nostrils are no longer that dry. They are not wet. Actually, they are a little bit wet, but it's not like when I was healthy before the surgery, but they are no longer really dry like I had before the diet. Hopefully it's clear. Ask me questions. So this diet did help me really improve my condition of type 2 empty nose syndrome. Um, I want to have here a list. I'll tell you more things, but I just want to give you a detail about this diet that I didn't put in other videos. Um, I do have other videos. Look always in the pinned comment. So in all my videos, there is it's my comment. It's a long comment. Be sure to click read more on the comment because there are more than 4 lines in those comments. It's long comments with a lot of details and also links. Be sure to read the first comment that you see in my videos, the top one, the one that's on the top. Also, I want to point out that I started a channel on Rumble. So if maybe YouTube will remove my channel in the future, who knows? Always be sure to put my Rumble channel in your favorites. So the Rumble, hopefully, account Rumble. It's RUMBLE, rumble.com. It's a platform, video platform. It has kind of green color to it. So anyhow, so all this to say that this diet took me about, obviously I did kind of find it by myself, but I took about, I would say, for the food, to get used to the food I'm eating now. And again, I'm not repeating what food I'm eating. Go in the other videos and read in the comment section. So to start eating the food I'm eating now, I did this over a period of about 2 years. So it's all gradual. This diet I started gradually. You cannot do it all at once from start today, start tomorrow doing this diet. It's not possible because you need to get used to this food and also to your eating hours. So this diet I started doing eating specific foods over perhaps a period of 2 years, because also I was searching which foods are good and which are not good for my breathing problem at night. And you need to use, I do describe in a video or I discover these foods. So basically, maybe ask me, maybe I'll do a video separate to say how I did discover these foods. So this was over a long period I started eating these foods. But also I want to point out that the eating hours, which are also very important, is just part diet thing. The eating hours, I got used to eat. Um, right now, for instance, I eat my last meal at around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So almost just like I think it's called lunch, right? In the middle of the day. I no longer, or almost always no longer eat after 1 in the afternoon until I go to sleep. So I sleep. Um, so there is basically what I'm saying here is there are at least 6 hours without eating anything, and then I go to sleep. Eat before sleeping, right? My last food, if you want, my last meal, it's at least 6 hours before I go to sleep. So I sleep, if you want, not really hungry, but I got used to it. So this is why I'm saying this in this video. It took me about, I would say, at least 6 months to get used not eating and going to sleep without eating. At least 6 months, even more. So you need to take your time to get used to this. The way I did this is before the diet, I would maybe eat my last food, my last meal at 8 in the evening, 8 o'clock, and then I would go to bed at 10 o'clock. So I was used before this diet to eat maybe 2 hours before going to bed. What I did is I started lowering the last hour of the food for the day. Instead of eating at 8 in the evening, I started eating at 7 in the evening for a few weeks, 1 week, 2 weeks. Then I started eating at 6 o'clock in the evening, the last meal. Again, I spread this over several weeks or over 1, 2 months, depends on you. Then I started eating my last food at 5 in the afternoon. And this way I did lower the hour of the last meal over several months, perhaps 1 year. And so I really just eat my last food uh, at 8, then at 7, then at 6, then at 5, then at 4, 3, 2, 1, and I arrived around 12 in the afternoon or 1 in the afternoon. I had to get used to this again over a long period of time. Hopefully, it's clear for you. I know there are people who are not good in English. So, all this to say that uh, I was before the surgery. I was eating at, let's say, 8 o'clock in the evening before going to bed, and then today I'm eating only at 1 in the afternoon, and then I no longer eat and I go to sleep like this. This this makes like at least, I call this at least 6, 7 hours without food, and then I go to sleep without eating again. Why? Because this helps the digestion be completed or almost completed. So 6 to 7 hours without food, and then you sleep like this without eating. That means your stomach, your intestine has a good part of the digestion. So the big digestion, the bigger part of the digestion happens after you eat a meal of food, right? So that big part is completed. So that means the blood from the digestion, from the intestine, can go now back to the nostril. So that's why my nostrils with this diet stay more open and less dry at night, and I can sleep without that, without problems, without the amount of problem that I had before the diet. Hopefully it's clear for you. Again, I'm trying here why I'm repeating this, saying this again and again. It's just I want to make sure, because there are people who are not English speaking persons, so hopefully they understand well. Ask me questions in the comment section. Usually I answer this question. And also just read the questions. There are long discussions from other people in the comments in my videos. Just scroll through those comments, discussions that I have with them. There are comments where I did reply, and I did reply 10, 20 times. So just look for those comments to just learn from what I told to other people as well in the comments from my videos. Okay, so all this to say that this diet, it took me long time to get used to it. When I started not eating several hours before going to bed, for about 1 or 2 years, I was feeling hungry when it was 8 in the afternoon or 9 or 10 in the afternoon. I was feeling hunger because I didn't eat for many hours at that point. That was a difficult period for me, that hunger. Hunger is not easy to cope with, to deal with it, right? One way to deal with hunger, it's maybe, I don't know how you feel about this. It's to drink water. Drink 1 glass of water. It kind of cuts the hunger a little bit. Drink maybe 2 glasses of water. So this is how I dealt with hunger. But I have to say that after about, I would say, 2 years of feeling this hunger, right now, again, right now, I eat my last food at about 1 p.m. and I go to bed at about, depends, I would go asleep at 8 p.m., 8 in the afternoon, 8 to 9. So about that makes it 7, 8 hours without food, right? And I don't eat before going to bed, no food. So just I go to bed, I sleep without eating, right? So right now, after I got used to this, I almost always no longer feel hungry when I go to sleep. So That's just to tell you that after about 1 or 2 years of this diet of not eating many hours, not eating, um, going to bed without eating food for many, many hours, I no longer feel hunger. So this is important because you get used to this. That's why I'm doing this video, basically to give you courage, right? To give you just optimism. You get used to it and you no longer feel hunger. The body does adapt to this diet. That's important to say. However, oftentimes I wake up after about this period of time, I wake up about after 5 hours of sleep, sometimes about 3 hours of sleep, and I feel hunger again. So I do mention this in another video. Um, Let me just say it quickly here that I feel like after about this I did this diet now for about 5 years. 5 years, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So at this point I feel like I start again to eat a little bit when I wake up at night, to eat a bit of, I toast my bread. I make my own bread. It's like a pita bread, if you want, a thin bread. It's really thin, and I toast it. I have a toaster here, and I eat this bread, which is almost dry. Mm, Soft bread is really one of the worst thing for the nostrils. So I eat my bread almost dry. At night, I eat a little bit of bread, really small amounts, because I'm too hungry at night when I wake up. And basically now it's nighttime. I did wake up uh, right now. The time it's 5 in the morning, but I actually did wake up earlier. So I eat a bit of bread at night, just a little bit, so I don't feel hungry, and then I will go back, usually asleep. I'm not sure if today I'm going to go back to sleep at this time, but usually I go back asleep and I sleep a few hours more, a few more hours, right? So this I described this in another video. All this to say that after about 5 years, I feel like, but only after about 5 years of diet, I feel like now I can eat a little bit of bread, sometimes even before going to sleep, but very small amounts. It's really 100 gram or so of bread, and also has to be really dried, um, toasted bread, right? Not dark, but toast, just to help a little bit. So there appears to me that after about 5 years of diet, there is some sort of improvement in my tolerance to eat food a little bit. Hopefully you understand, but it's a really small amount. However, I did keep this diet for about without, again, just like I described this diet. Okay, so all I'm saying here is that you, if you have my condition, perhaps you will need to follow this diet for several years, and maybe at some point you will feel a improvement with your nostrils, and maybe after several years of diet you will be able to kind of reduce the diet, but you will need to do it properly for several years. Okay, I'm just telling you my experience. um, Let me just try to remember if I want to say something else about this diet. Yes, about the foods of the diet, you will find in another videos. There are several foods that I no longer eat that are really very bad for the nostril condition at nighttime. The biggest foods are milk products, any milk products. Other bad foods are soft bread. I was talking about this, but there are several other things that I no longer eat at all. I described this in another video. I don't want to come back on this. Let me just see here. Um, Okay, let me just give you an idea. I have a sticker here about other things that I do to sleep better, to improve my sleep. So usually I recommend keeping your room door and windows closed at all time. Why? Because even during the day, this when you breathe at night, you just exhale humid air, right? You breathe out air, and the air that comes from your body, that comes out of your body, it's humid. It's more humid than your room air. So when you breathe like this throughout during the night, for example, the air inside your room gets more humid. You don't feel it. It's a different humidity. I don't humidify my room. I don't. You can try actually to boil some water on the stove and the water will evaporate, but I don't humidify my room with anything. All I do is I try to keep the humid air from my breathing inside the room, and that's why I keep my door and my windows closed. I don't ventilate my room, except I open the windows when there is raining outside, because when it's raining outside, the humid air from the rain, it's good, and I let that air getting into my room, and that's when also I refresh my room. And usually, because my city is polluted here, I do this only at night time where there is no cars inside the city. So this is just a good idea. It's good to have cleaner air. If you can live in an area with countryside or something like this where there is not a lot of pollution, it's going to be better for you. Um, Let me see when. Okay, another problem is you will have problems with body dehydration. I detailed this in another video. So it's important to start drinking water at least 1-2 liters during the day. Um, the hot weather temperature, it's worsening my nostril condition. So for instance, when there is over 25 Celsius outside, so in a hot summer day, I stay inside indoors at home. Maybe you just convert Celsius to Fahrenheit to find the temperature. I think it's over 80 Fahrenheit or so. I don't go outside. This is the that kind of hot weather is it's affecting my nostril the most. My best weather is winter time, cold weather. Yes, summertime it's the worst for me. It doesn't help me. Um, Let me see. This I said. I think I've pretty much got through. Yeah, I think my camera. Let's see if I can get you more light. I think I got through almost all my list here. I wanted to add more. Again, I said it's important thing to just watch my other video about the body dehydration. It's really important. Also, I do have videos about insomnia and how I deal with insomnia. Just watch those videos. It's important again because this obviously this condition, empty nose condition, it's going to affect your sleep. Is going to affect your work as well. I mentioned this professionally. You need to be aware about your future professional life and try to after several years with empty nose condition, depends, at least my condition, you may no longer be able to do a intellectual work. I was an engineer. I'm no longer able to do that job. You no longer, because of insomnia and sleep problems and poor sleep quality, you will no longer be able to use your brain to do some job, um, calculating or any kind of job that requires you to, to use your brain, if you want, so to speak. So you need to look in the long term, financially speaking, for your life, right? Because you need to make a living and so on. So this is about insomnia part. yes, I think that's pretty much what I wanted to say in this video. Basically, I started this video just to share this idea that about this what I call type 2 ENS condition, which again I don't know, but maybe it's it was caused because I didn't do saline irrigation. Again, be careful, don't ingest salt in your body. That's really not a good thing. It can affect your body, especially when you have empty nose syndrome. Salt in your body, it's bad. And by the way, I no longer eat salt and sugar at all. So I was saying, be careful with saline irrigation. Do it, but don't ingest salt. I repeat this for the last time. Be careful with your body. Watch my videos. Salt inside your body, especially if you will suffer from dehydration, and salt can damage in the long term, can damage your kidneys. So be careful with this. Don't ingest it. By ingesting, I mean when you get saline irrigation in your nostrils and you incline your head, some saline water may leak through the back of your nose. The back of your nose, it's connected with your throat, right? Just look up for information or Google. So when you do saline irrigation, do not let water getting from the back of your nose into your throat and then you swallowing, you just ingest it. Don't do that. Be careful. Don't let water get inside your throat and ingest it, right? You will, when you do saline irrigation, you will know what I'm talking about. So yes, this to sum up this video, uh, possibly I got this type 2 empty nose syndrome with nostrils almost fully blocked at night because I didn't do that saline irrigation. The second idea of this video is that when you start this food diet, you have to start it gradually. And I think I'm going to finish this video and make right away a video about how to select the food to eat, how to determine or find out which food is good and which food is bad for the nose. So this diet, you need to, if you are going to start it, and I think this is the most important part by far that helped me get my nostrils less blocked and less dry at night. This diet has to be you have to get used to it over a long period of time. I mean, no longer eating certain foods and also not eating or if you want, going to bed, going to sleep without eating many hours before, at least 6 hours. So going to sleep without food into your stomach for many hours. All this has to be done over a long period of time. You have to get used to this diet over many, perhaps over 1 year or 2 years. You need to get it gradually and get used to it. It's possible, it's doable, and it's going to give, at least it gave me the biggest relief. This diet was the most important part. By the way, just to add this to this video, um, this is very personal. So faith, I'm Christian, Orthodox Christian. If you want to look at the Orthodox Church, it's just like the Russian Church. This is personal. Faith is personal, right? So, but I just want to say also that this faith helped me in a sense that I did feel I'm not struggling by myself in all this ordeal. Um, so I feel like it's just like you're not by yourself into this, right? But also I want to point out, I'm not sure if this is coincidence or just, who knows, something else perhaps. So I have a daughter. Okay, no, I'm not going to share this with you. Sorry, just have my reasons. So all this to say that this diet, actually, I'm going to say it this way. Um, uh, the idea of the diet, basically, because I never read about this diet. The way I started to do this is when I was struggling before the diet. I was struggling a lot, like I said, with very poor airflow in my nostrils. And at some point, I did tell about this to my daughter, who was about maybe 12 at that time. I don't really remember exactly, 12, 13 years old. And I told her how difficult this is for me to live like this, to have this breathing problem at night. And after I told her about, I don't really remember the time, but there have been several months I did discover this diet. So it's just the way I did discover. I say I just noticed that the food had that impact when for instance, I think at first I didn't eat something, one of the foods that is bad for the nostrils. So I did discover that, or at least I got the idea that if I don't eat some food, maybe I was feeling better with the nostrils at night. So then I said, well, let me just explore this food thing. And then I started not eating some foods. And that's how I got to, that's how I did discover basically this diet help for my condition. But after I started this diet and I started having how to say, an improvement in my breathing at night, some a few months after I started discovering this diet, my daughter told me one day, so I'm divorced and I don't meet my children, I don't live with them basically, so I have to visit them. And after I started this diet, my daughter told me, you know, Dad, when you, so this is what she said to me, when you told me that you have this difficult breathing at night because after the surgery and so on, this is what my daughter told me. She said, I did pray to God to help you somehow. So I didn't know she did pray. She told me after I started having this diet. So basically, her prayer did happen about at the time, more or less. I'm not saying it was a miracle or something like this, but happened about actually after her prayer, more or less. I did discover this diet. So maybe it's up to you to interpret this. I don't know. It's up to everybody. This is personal things. So all this to say that. Yes, this is my message for you for this video, and I'm going to start right away. I'm not too tired now to just make another video about how I did determine, how I did find which food has an impact on the nostril condition blockage and which food I can eat. Okay, so just maybe follow my other videos. Thanks for watching, and sorry for the long video.